Things have been absolutely insane inside the CS2 market. First up, I want to talk about the Tradeup market because we've got a lot of things we really haven't broken down, and it really falls onto the Tradeup section. Now, obviously, we've got our covert Tradeups that turn into knives, and those are very important, but that's not specifically what I'm focusing in on. Instead, I'm focusing in on the area we made our investment, which is into filler skins. Now, unfortunately, we'll break it down in a future video as well, but filler skins are basically no more. This video by Tech Savvy explains it perfectly. He is the Tradeup guy, but to give you the rundown, Tradeups in a general sense are completely different. It used to be based on the number of outputs, and now it's based on the number of inputs. What does that mean for you? Well, if you had an investment into filler skins, it is now virtually worthless. Now, it's not essentially worthless because those skins do have some value, but they're not going to be having value in terms of the Tradeup potential anymore. That means, unfortunately, all of our light blue skins we bought from the Train collection have been destroyed because of Valve's latest update. Now, obviously, it's about 2 weeks ago now, but this is still a very drastic impact. If we want to look at the prices, they have dropped all across the board because these skins lost all their utility, which is so unfortunate. And obviously, this was a profitable area beforehand, and now it's lost nearly all of that value. Skinland is today's sponsor, and they're also sponsoring you with their brand new instant sale system. Starting off today, you're going to be getting a free $10 on your first trade, and you're going to be able to get that money instantly. It's not going to take 7 days to get paid with Skinland. You can do it in just minutes after Valve's latest update. Best part is they've got tons of different payout options, and don't forget to use code MasterShiny to get everything you're looking for. They're the safest option if you're looking to sell your CS2 skins, plus their massive marketplace offering every single thing you're looking for if you're trying to buy CS2 skins as well, and a ton of different deposit options. So don't wait, use code MasterShiny and get paid instantly for your CS2 skins. Now, talking about our sticker market, things have rebounded quite a bit. If you're trying to get into the Austin market, it's gone right back up because of this latest update. We saw that rebound happen relatively quickly, and overall the relative sticker market isn't doing anything insane, but it's still in a very solid position. For me personally, I'm not really expecting too much because of this. Obviously, the Austin major has gone and it's passed, and we saw some of these prices shoot up all the way. Like we talked about our souvenir packages, this does kind of fall into the major market area here. I definitely think Austin is going to be put on the back burner relatively soon because we've got the Budapest major coming up. It's right around the corner, and we're probably going to be getting these stickers in just a couple weeks. Very important that if you're trying to make an investment into the Austin area, you do have that little bit of a timeline because we got the Budapest major coming up. We've got our teams confirmed right here. Obviously, we got some new ones, a lot of returning ones, and there's a ton of drama happening inside of the major scene, but none of it's really going to impact the investing market as a whole. Now, talking about our covert market, this is obviously the area that everyone is still looking at. As if we want to look at our prices, they are still, relatively speaking, on the up and up. Some of them have started to plateau a little bit. Talking about like our MP9 Starlight Protector, it is now plateaued at around $100, and it's fluctuating within that $90 to $100 range. Same goes for obviously the other Dreams and Nightmares covert, and a lot of these other coverts have really started to hit their medium in price. Now, the real big question comes with this is that all of these items are still relatively new. We haven't gotten the chance to see a ton of new trade-ups be done for these items, because remember, if you bought something, it's going to take a week for you to be able to sell it on the market, and therefore we still are a little bit unsure where exactly these equilibriums are all going to find themselves in terms of the covert market. I will definitely say it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with this specifically, because we don't know exactly what the demand and the level of price some of these are going to be at. If we want to look at the P90 Asimov, it shot all the way up to around $120, $130, and then it shot back up again to almost $230. Obviously, people are very desired to go ahead and do these breakout trade-ups, so it's going to be very interesting to see the rest of the market kind of adjust, as obviously now there's a huge profit potential for the pinks inside of the breakout collection. Now, hitting on our case market, this is one area that I really love, and I want to focus in on these unboxing numbers. Now, we're going to break them more down in a future video, but obviously these are extremely inflated, and that's because people are now doing trade-ups to get covert skins, which, if we want to look at the unboxing numbers, that's actually how they figure out the rough amount of cases unboxed, is by using battle-scarred covert items, because people in the past never had a reason to trade up to them. Well, now they do because of this latest update with the knives. That's why these numbers are inflated, and that's why when we want to look at our prices, we can see that they have rebounded, but they have not rebounded to the level we would be seeing if we were seeing 70 million cases unboxed in the last month. That's obviously inflated, but these prices are still extremely solid. They're really what I want to see inside of this area. I don't really expect too much more, as obviously there is still a lot of investor confidence that has been lost, and cases are an area that a lot of investors really get into. I will say these prices are still relatively solid, and they're not anything to complain about, considering most of them are kind of sitting in a very similar price point to what we were seeing before the update, and that's really all we can ask for a quick recovery. Talking about our Armory market, there's nothing too crazy going on inside this area. If you want to look at our unboxing ROIs, they are back up into a very profitable position. Obviously, the M4A1S Solitude is the #1, and we've got our Sport and Field and Missing Link following that up with around 140 to 145%. I will say, as a whole, the Elemental Craft stickers are the only ones that I'm really still eyeing as a potential investment that's inside of the current Armory. And that's just because if we want to look at our Character Craft stickers, they have turned out quite well. They are obviously no longer in the the Armory, but they're still sitting at a very solid price point, and I will say there is definitely still a very strong advantage into investing into those. We'll talk about it in a little bit more. And then also our Fever case has finally recovered back to around that dollar price point. It did it relatively quickly, and I don't really expect it to move much from this in the near future. I will say overall the Armory isn't too crazy, but it's glad to see that it's back on track because that's really good for what we're wanting to see. Now talking about our knife market, it's a little bit of a unique situation. That's because obviously a lot of these prices have rebounded quite significantly, and inside of the series we only get $50 every week, so if we wanted to buy a knife we'd have to sell off previous investments, but I don't think buying into a super cheap knife at this point really makes a ton of sense for me. I just don't see the demand level that I would want to see for an investment, especially considering we know that there's a lot more knives that are going to be created. Therefore, inside of this current situation, I don't see a huge advantage into buying the cheap knives right now. If you want to look at the knives that appreciate the most, they're always ones that are either in the most desirable knife or the most desirable finish. And if we want to talk about something like a Safari Mesh Navaja, it's not really fitting either of those requirements, and therefore I don't see a huge opportunity for me personally to buy up some of these right now. Now the first thing I'm going to be picking up is a combination of the Elemental and Character Craft stickers. Now for this one I'm probably going to lean a lot more towards the Character Craft stickers because the Elemental are solid, but I think they're going to be sticking around for a fair bit of time. I really like still what we're seeing inside of the Character Craft stickers. The application numbers are solid, and if we want to look at the overall supply, obviously it is no longer increasing because it's not in the active Armory. I think inside this situation it's really good for going to some investments that we know are probably going to be solid and we know relatively speaking are going to be more stable. Now the second investment I'm going to be making is into the rare case market. I think you'd be an absolute fool to not grab some of these, and especially inside of the current market where they are a little bit cheaper depending on which case you're going for. I think there are some advantages to going for some of these specific cases. For me, I'm going to be picking up some Danger Zone because it's one of the cases that is still down around 15% from that price it was sitting at before the update, and it's one that's shown to be extremely volatile. I think there is still a very solid position for this case, and although it's drastically different now because of the update, I still think that we're going to see a lot of unboxing numbers come in for it. The third area I'm going to be investing into is going to be, relatively speaking, into the Covert Market. Now I'm not specifically going to be buying any items because we only have $15. I'm going to be rolling over this money into the next episode, and hopefully we can potentially pick up something there. It's still a little bit unsure where exactly this market sits, and therefore I don't want to put our super limited resources into it, but I definitely think there is going to be some potential inside this area, whether it's buying up some pinks, whether it's buying up some purples even. We don't know exactly how this is going to play out, but I definitely don't think it's a bad idea to allocate some money towards it. And then lastly for me, inside of the current market, I really think it would be a bad idea to pass up on the Gallery case. It's a discontinued case at this point, and relatively speaking, it is the cheapest by such a significant margin, and I think that's very telling. Obviously, it is not equivalent to some of the other past discontinued cases, but if we want to look at it, there is no more supply coming in. People are still unboxing it at pretty strong rates, and therefore I don't see a downside to it other than the fact that it's a little bit more expensive, but it's the same price as a cheaper rare case. That's all I got. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day.